today, as you can see, we're going to be doing another page in our art journal. And I'm really excited about this because I'm kind of taking my art journaling to new heights when it comes to mixed media. I think I'm beginning to be more brave, and I'm very proud of myself about that. So the first thing I did was I wanted to make sure that I give the pages some sturdiness, so I glued 2 pages together. And then I also wanted to protect the spine because it's already starting to kind of come apart a bit, because the first few times that I painted, I didn't protect the spine, so it got wet. But that's okay, because it's nothing a little bit of tape will not help. So I'm just using some regular old packing tape, something that I had around the house, and this is going to protect it's going to protect the spine from actually breaking more. I'm also putting down some washi tape on the side because I like the way washi tape looks on the side, and I guess you're wondering, why am I doing this before I even really get finished? Well, you'll kind of see why in a few moments, so be patient, you all. And while you're being patient, if these are the type of videos that you like, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification button so that you'll be notified when more videos like this one come out. So I am also making a tab because I have a thing for tabs. Now, I really wanted to put maybe some fabric tabs in here, and I may go back in and do that later, but I'm just using washi because you know what? This girl has like 1,000,001 washi tapes. So I am using all the washi that I can possibly use. So I'm also going into my little scrap box here, and I'm going to use some things. So this page is basically, it is made with, well, not duct tape, but it's made with spit and whatever I had, to use. And I didn't, go out and buy any items. I didn't use any new pages or anything. I just used like some scraps, some things that the ordinary person would throw in the trash. Now I'm using a We Are Memory Keepers tear guide, and I found these at the store, and I don't know if I'm gonna like them or not, but I did use them this time, and they gave me some interesting edges. So the jury is still out, and maybe I'll do a review on those. So leave a comment below if this is something that you would like for me to go into more detail about, and that's the We Are Memory Keepers tear guides. Now I also took out some of the gel prints that I did, and you can go back and you can look at the video for that one as well. And I always say I'm a practical kind of girl, so I wanted to make sure that I use those gel prints. So every time that I'm actually doing my mixed media and art journaling and junk journaling, I pull those out and I try to find a way to use them. So I don't want them to just sit around. I'm actually going to use them. So you can see now I'm putting all my little bits and pieces down, and I am using some matte medium to do this for, and it's kind of like a lightweight body glue, but it really helps things to stay on, and it also dries in an opaque manner. Now if you've been watching my videos, I've been using like a lot of gesso, and I wanted like the page to kind of come through. Even though the pages are not that interesting, I wanted to see how it was going to be if I didn't use like an opaque gesso on here. And I have to say that I was quite pleased, and it's probably something that I'll do in the future because, I was using a lot of gesso, and not to say that I didn't need to, but I knew this time, I was going to try not to use a lot of water on the page. So I think it would be safe. I thought that it would be safe to actually just use a little bit of matte medium and just kind of continue on. So the next thing I did was I pulled out a few stamps, and they didn't have any rhyme or reason about it, no cohesiveness. I just grabbed some stamps and I just commenced the stamping. And I'm using archival ink so that it will not bleed as well. And I just stamped all over the place, and I even stamped on the black part of the page on the left. But I didn't know how this was going to turn out. I'm actually trying to do like some different techniques every time I do the art journaling instead of using the same thing, because I think that's how you grow. You can't grow unless you kind of come out of your comfort zone and use some new things. And I also want to use some old things like these washi tapes. I have a quadzillion washi tapes, and I mean a quadzillion. So I pulled out a couple of buckets of washi tape and I just started putting them down. Even the ones that I really love a lot and you want to save them and hoard them, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just going to try to use them. And I didn't know with the techniques that I was using today if I would even be able to see the washi tapes once I got done. But you know what? I didn't care. So I'm going to use the washi tapes. It's going to add some beautiful texture. So now, this part right here, this is where I had to get brave, because I really didn't know how this page was going to turn out. I was kind of winging it at this point. I did pull out some paints that I thought would go together. I actually used my color wheel so that I can pick some colors that weren't going to get muddy. So that's my biggest thing, is using colors that will kind of get muddy. So, and I have to say, that color wheel helped a heap. So if you look down in the description, you'll see a link to the color wheel that I'm using also, if that's something that you're interested in. So I'm putting down the second color. And by the way, these are like my favorite paints, and I said every time that I use them, they are so creamy and easy to use, and they just work well with others. They just play good with the other mixed media products and paints. And one thing that I really love about them is they have kind of an opaqueness. So when you first put them on, they really have like a really deep color, but once they dry, they actually have an opaqueness to them, and you can kind of see the color behind it lifting up, and I really like that. So I also wanted to kind of introduce like kind of a pop of color, like a surprise color. I guess it's not a surprise if you see me putting it down. And I'm putting this on like some old packaging. It had like some really nice texture to it, so I just kind of dipped it in that nice orange paint. And by the way, the name of that paint is called Orange Squeeze, and I love it. I love the way those little lines just added like that really nice texture. And at this point, I'm saying I'm really digging this page. I am digging it. So now I'm pulling out some of the white Dilutions paints also. And then this is a piece of packaging, and it didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. I dipped it in the paint, and then I put it on the page, and it came out like a big, wonderful glob. It didn't have any kind of, structure or anything. But when I put it down, I really loved it. I was like, this really gives the page like some life. It looks like the page has some movement. And so I was really pleased with those globs of paint. Now you'll see that they're white here. And by the end of this, they won't be white anymore, because again, that paint, when it dries, it's kind of opaque, and the white is really kind of opaque. I'm not opaque, but it's kind of translucent is what I'm trying to say. It has a translucency to it, not opaqueness. And so as the paint dries, that white will start turning purple. So you can kind of see that already. Now, this stencil, y'all, I am so proud of myself. Let me tell you. What? this stencil I made myself. It wasn't a knockoff from anybody or anything. I actually built this from scratch. Basically, I designed it, and I designed it just to use for this layout because I wanted something different. I have some stencils, but I wanted more mixed media stencils, and I wanted something kind of in the lines of this one, and I certainly got what I wanted. And so this is kind of like the prototype, because the for real ones will actually be made with a stencil. It'll be like a plastic. And so if you're interested in this, then you can head over to pleasantcreations.com, because this will be up in the shop, because I am so proud of this stencil and I love it. And I think what I'm going to do is have like this one and then actually like the negative of it as well, because it just made my heart flutter to do this. And I really wanted to bring the colors back up that I had kind of at the bottom of the pile when it comes to everything that I had on the page. So I put some green on there, and then I brought the blue back in. I brought some more white in, and again, everything kind of like just kind of melds together, which is nice. And I'm also bringing the purple up. And I felt like, even though purple wasn't the only color on here, I felt like purple was the star. It kind of really stood out on the pages. So I wanted to make sure that I brought that back up as well. Now you might be saying, okay, Liz, you probably done enough, but well, I got really excited about this page, and I just wanted to keep on going. So this is a piece of bubble wrap, and again, I'm using some white. And again, as this goes on, a lot of that white will kind of sink back into the page, and it just adds such a lovely amount of texture. I'm telling you, I was just like giddy doing this. So now I'm taking out some of the gel prints, and again, I'm a practical kind of girl, and I always try to figure out a way to use those gel prints. So I take them out every time I'm doing my art journaling, and I decided to use my favorite stamps, these block stamps. And one reason why I like them is because they're a really nice size, and I like the imperfectness of the stamp. Now I probably could get a better or more perfect stamp if I took my time, but you know what? I like the way it looks. I like the rusticness of the stamp itself. So I really don't mind, if it looks like I made a mistake when I was stamping. It's no issue at all. So I cut out each piece or each letter, and what I decided to do was to take some of the vintage photo, Tim Holtz vintage photo, distressed ink, and just go around the edges and give it kind of a distressed look. I found that, when I put just like the white pieces down, it doesn't really fit within the whole thing. It just feels unfinished. So that vintage photo kind of gives it a finish. And of course, I just wanted to keep on going and just add more stuff. So I took out some more stamps, and I just went stamp crazy. And I love all the layers on this. I really feel like, I was a baby mixed media artist. When I did this page, I felt for real. I felt legit. Because I put everything in there but the kitchen sink, which that's what this layout should have been named, was everything but the kitchen sink. But I named it Chaotic Beauty because it just had everything, and everything came together. The colors were pretty. It didn't get all muddled together. Can you tell I'm excited about this page? So to put the letters down, I decided to torture myself and tape each piece down instead of using glue, which I like that. And then I also wanted to use these strips, which were left over from when I cut the letter. So this also came from the gel prints. Just some little bitty strips that normally I would throw in the trash. I decided to use them. So I tried to glue them down with a glue stick, and of course to no avail. That just wasn't enough sticking power. It's just too much going on the page. So I took out the matte gel medium, and then I tried to use this little bitty, I don't know what I was doing. I tried to use this little bitty brush, and of course that didn't do the job. So I ended up getting out a bigger brush and really slathering on some matte medium. And it was okay because of course when it dries all the way clear and you can see right through it, so it wasn't a problem. So I wanted to just put both those little strips down just to kind of give it like a little bit of added beauty to the chaos. And looking back on it, I wish I would have done it just maybe a little bit differently, but you know what? I'm happy with how it came out. Now I did take up some of the matte medium because I didn't want it to kind of pool, and I wanted it to be dry pretty quickly. So the next thing I did was I took out a quote from one of the Tim Holtz Tiny Words book, and it says, "Always be on the lookout for the presence of wonder." And that really stuck out to me when I looked at this page, because if you could see it in person, it is just absolutely stunning, the colors. So I thought that was just very appropriate for this. Now I wanted to go around the edges because that's just my thing. I love adding a frame to my art, and so I tried to use my little China pencil with some water, and it did get a little bit darker, but it wasn't doing it for me. That didn't do it for me. So I tried to use some vintage photo, Tim Holtz, and it was okay, but that didn't do it for me either. So I took out some purple, you all. I took out some purple distress ink, and that did it for me because everything else was purple. Purple stood out in this particular layout, so it was perfect for the edges. So that's what I put down. So I was looking at this page and I was saying, I could add more stuff to it still. I mean, why not? Why not just keep on going? I was really feeling it, like I had like a really good momentum going when I was doing the page. So I decided to just add some little, kind of tweak it a little bit here and there. And I made sure that I signed it and I dated it, because I'm really getting good at remembering to sign and date my work. And then I put the pen away and I said, no, you know what? I want to do just some more. And so I did like these little squiggly lines. I just decided to do some doodling, and I'll probably be doing more doodling in the future because I'm just really feeling more comfortable doing it, doing these little doodles and things. And so I even did a little doodle at the bottom, and I didn't feel like it messed the page up or anything. So this was quite wonderful, and I would love to know in the comments, what is your favorite part of this layout? I mean, I think my favorite part is the letters. I love the way the letters came out in here. So be brave and just know that your artwork will be wonderful, just like this one. And don't be afraid to just dig in there and get it going. So with that, I'm going to say love, peace, and hair grease from your sweet lotus blossom and lovable Lizzie. Have a fantabulous day and enjoy life.